peace, world. Notice I don't really wait around for people to jump into the chat or whatever. I mainly record. I mainly go live because I hate to waste time with um, post production stuff, editing, uploading, writing up descriptions, blah blah blah. I really don't like to waste my time on all that. Another thing is, I was talking to a cat on here yesterday. I knew the email. I was familiar with the email from my partner, and he made some comments in the live chat, and I'm like, I know this my man, but I didn't know it was my man, and he didn't even say, "Hey, Reggie," or "Wood," or whatever to let me know it was him. But anyway, that was interesting. Look, man, I'm gonna keep it a buck, okay? Race and sports, it's a difficult thing. Race in life is a difficult thing. But all in all, after the 6 or 8 people that I watched talk about Dwayne Haskins and the Washington football team, I thought the media pretty much handled it spot on. I do. But we have this thing, once it gets out to America, to the people, to the world, we got a couple of things going on here, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. You got a lot of, first of all, not any and everybody can talk about racial matters and racial issues. Not everybody is well balanced enough, thoughtful enough, confident enough. But anyway, 2 things here. White America, white people. This premise, I'm getting to that. What's up? Y'all check out sportstalk365.com. I thought Booker was okay. I'm getting to that. White people, though, this whole premise that if you bring up race, if you say race, racial, black, if you say any of these things, if you go to lead off a statement with that's making this a racial matter, that's not a true statement. It's also not true that if you quit bringing up racial stuff, that racism will go away. We have to talk about these things. Sports Talk, D Branch, in terms of speaking about Booger McFarland, he said, he led off with 70% of the league. I think it's 74%. 70% of the league is black. We're not making that up. That's a fact. So a lot of these personnel moves, a lot of these stories, a lot of the headlines are going to involve black people, black players, and we got to talk about it. And if it's a brother acting up, we got to talk about it. If it's a brother who was done wrong, we're probably going to talk about it. Black America, black people. It's a lot of black people who get very reckless with racial arguments. That's a fact. It happens a lot. And it's funny, it's kind of ironic because speaking uncomfortably on an uncomfortable issue or speaking uncomfortably on a discomforting issue, but it happens. But you know what? You can tune those people out. You can ignore those people. You don't have to support them. You can go elsewhere. But everybody, I'll repeat it, everybody that I listened to speak on this matter was somewhat on point and made fair discussions, because at the end of the day, when it comes to Dwayne Haskins, he got all the chances in the world and he didn't produce. And the NFL is about producing. It's about numbers. It doesn't have the same statistical discussion and ongoing discussion as baseball, but it's stats driven, and wins and losses, completion percentage, yards per attempt, QB rating, whatever QBR, all of that stuff, it matters. And like I said yesterday, there's only 32 starting quarterbacks in the world, and the NFL, despite, going through some issues, is still king in United States sports. I don't know if the rest of the world really gives a damn about the NFL, but it's a big time position. These franchises are evaluated at multiple billions of dollars. And the most recognizable person of that franchise is the starting quarterback. But anyway, like I said, we get to talking about these things every once in a while. You're going to have a Will Kane and a Bomani Jones have an uncomfortable conversation. And all you can do is sit back and hope that if these people are on the airwaves, if they're on YouTube, if they're on radio, all you can do is hope that their time as professional speakers and doing what they do, all you can hope is that they present a logical and a responsible, a fair opinion. And let's run down the names. Stephen A. Stephen A. didn't even mention race in his tweet because he's on vacation, I guess. He didn't even mention anything about race when he put out his tweet about Dwayne Haskins. He just said he was wrong. Some of us should be applauding that. He said, man, I was wrong. How many times does he admit he was wrong? And he's wrong quite a bit, but he's on TV every day. Swagoo. Why don't we praise Swagoo for being a very down to earth, a dude who regularly keeps it real. Like the hell with, Marcus Spears is almost disgusted by the fact that we gotta dance around race. I don't give a damn what color you are. You suck or you don't suck. You can play or you can't play. End of that. End of the story. Marcus Spears is a straight shooter. I respect the man. Now, Booger McFarland, like I said, he let out 70% of the players are black. Me as a black man, I want another black man to be able to succeed. I also want, no, what he said was, I want other black players to be able to succeed. I want you to understand how serious this is. We all say this is a children's game. You should be happy getting the money to play a children's game. It's not really a children's game. I just said these franchises are evaluated at multiple billions of dollars. $4 or $5 billion now is the value of a franchise. Putting an appealing product on the field is paramount. And anything that's going to take away from us I know some franchises that have been ran horribly for year after year after year. I get that. The Washington football team is one of them. The Detroit Lions is one of them. You know who they are. So, but for most of these franchises, anything that's taken away from the main objective of winning on Sunday, you got to go. Some people, some of these guys get in the way. Jerry gets in the way of winning a little bit of time. But let's get to Dominic Foxworth, because I just saw some critiques and some attacks of Dominic Foxworth for bringing race into it and for interjecting race into the discussion. Dominic Foxworth, who's a writer on The Undefeated, one of the senior writers or one of the dudes who does pieces on The Undefeated on ESPN.com. Again, with white America saying if you quit bringing up race, racism will go away. That's the most ignorant shit, period. But all Dominic Foxworth said was, I will give you this. And I disagree with him on this part of his statement. Dominic Foxworth said the racial component is coming to the forefront of this story. That's not true. I hadn't really heard anything about race until he said that. So any white person that was triggered by Dominic Foxworth saying the racial component, that wasn't the most accurate statement. I'll give you that. But what he said after that, like, don't You can't tune people off because they say race, racial, or black. You can't tune people out. You have to listen to somebody's point and process it. What he said was, the gist of what he said was, my hope and what I can use my platform for is that this situation with Dwayne Haskins, with him being a black quarterback, with him being in a high-profile position such as a starting quarterback, my hope is that this isn't looked at as a reflection of all black players. That's all the man said. I mean, I could be missing a detail or two, but most of what he was saying was, I hope that teams don't. We got other black quarterbacks coming. We have we have this 75% of players is going to be black. I hope this isn't looked at. I hope all of these people aren't judged on how Dwayne Haskins messed up this or fumbled away, squandered his opportunity that he had, and squandered his talent. That's pretty much what he said. That's not making racial matters worse in this country. You like I said, you can't, and it's the same thing with a lot of black people. A white person gets to talking about some black and white stuff, some racial stuff, and the black person just flips out. Like, bro, we got to talk through these things. We have to understand these things. Every once in a while, you'll get a matter such as damn, I knew I was gonna forget his name. The coach that was fired, Ted Cottrell, up in Detroit. Every once in a while, you get a situation like him where is it not? I think he went 9-7 back-to-back years in Detroit. They got rid of him. They brought in Matt Patricia, who has bungled all of that up. He wish he could go. Jim Caldwell. You're right. Damn, I said Ted Cottrell. Jim Caldwell. He went 9-7 and 9-7, I believe. Jim Caldwell seems like a pretty straight-laced guy. He seems like a professional guy. I would think he'd be showing up on time for work, staying late. He show up early for work, stay late, hold guys accountable, disciplinarian, normal dude, regardless of what his skin color is. Seemed to be a normal guy in Jim Caldwell. They let him go after 9-7. Bring in Patricia, things take a dip. He wish he could sniff 9-7. Hasn't happened. They had to fire him. Now, if I'm out here and I rush out here with this, he was fired because he was black, he was on a short leash because he was black, maybe he was 9-7 2 years in a row, I believe. But the thing with, I can't really run out here and say a whole lot because the team thought they were bringing in somebody from the Bill Belichick tree. That's the detail that you got to throw out there or take into consideration before you get out here saying what it is and what it isn't. They thought they were upgrading because this dude came from the Bill Belichick coaching tree. And as a franchise that's been beleaguered for years, if we got a chance to bring in someone from the Belichick coaching tree, and he helps with our drafting, he helps with managing our personnel, he brings in a winning culture. Because let's keep it a buck. Caldwell didn't win one with he didn't win one with one of the best quarterbacks one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Peyton Manning. I think they had the 14-2, 15-1 year, whatever, and then he didn't get it done. So they thought they were bringing in a person who would usher in upgrades across the board. Patricia really wasn't the guy to do that. So, but if you want to run out there, that comes down to the individual. If you want to run out there and say that Caldwell, it was the whole black coach, the race. If you want to do that, you can do that. But you have to factor in. You should factor in that they thought it was an upgrade. It just didn't. It didn't work out. But again, here in this matter right here with Dwayne Haskins, I thought everybody did that. I thought everybody spoke on the facts. Dan Orlovsky, he was a guy who was very high on. I thought he was very fair and very high on Dwayne Haskins. He talked about a lot of his issues when he looked at the situation early on in the year. Orlovsky talked about it being the coaches, them being at fault. He broke down Turner's offense and looked at some of the simplicity in the in the scheme and whatnot. I thought that was pretty fair. Then we work ourselves up to last Sunday, and we see that this kid couldn't go out there and do anything. You take away the 150-yard pass that he hit, which was a broken play, and a damn near a Hail Mary that he threw to Cam Sims. You take away those 50 yards, he spent a whole day out there and only threw for 100 yards. Like, bro, you gotta be able to be a plus. And as the quarterback, you damn sure can't be the biggest minus. In basketball, we talk about the plus minus. I see a lot of guys go to the box score and pick out. I think the other night, Kuzma was like negative 23 or something, and they picked on him. And that's the same thing. Obviously, when we point to the quarterback position, you handle the ball on every offensive play. You can't be the sole reason. You can't be the largest factor for us losing a game, a must-win game. So there was not much to argue here about in favor of Haskins. The last thing that I'll say is, I thought it was very brave of the kid to do I clicked on I saw a video yesterday. I don't know. I didn't see what station it was, but it was a dude in DC. I think it's Channel 9 there or something. I don't remember what the call letters were. But I was absolutely shocked that that Haskins did this interview. And, I had to sit there and listen to the young man. He sounds really young. I'm here in Ohio. I never heard the dude really do an interview other than maybe at the end of a game or something, or the end of the championship. Maybe that's the only time I heard the guy talk. Again, at the college level, they don't make these kids available to all of the media. It's not like the pros. But just listening to the kid, and I heard in his interviews, going into the combine, I heard that a lot of people thought he was very immature, so on and so forth. And you're listening to him versus even listening to the kid that's replaced him at Ohio State, Justin Fields. I listened to a sit down with Justin Fields, and I don't know if it was Lisa Salters or Maria, whatever her last name is. The dude has presence. Justin Fields was talking about being a vegan and competing and leading the team, and his thought, how he voiced his opinion during when the Big Ten had canceled the season. I heard a young 22, 23, whatever he is. I heard a young guy talk. Listening to Dwayne Haskins yesterday, he sounded like he's 16, 17 years old. I mean, I was dumbfounded that he speaks. I mean, that's his presence. It's like an 18-year-old. And, I think that's part of the reason, all in all, that kind of failed this kid is he's a young-minded guy. Lastly, another thing that kind of happens in social media and in forums and chat rooms and Reddit and Instagram and all of that, fans make it personal and start attacking a guy personally, and attacking like the culture that he comes from and what he represents. I don't dislike Dwayne Haskins as a young man. I hate that we lost, that it didn't work out for him. I hate that he seems to be as unprofessional as he is or immature as he is. I hate that he couldn't figure out a way to make it work and to compete at the slightest level. I hate the lack of production from the position. I hate that you know, that it ended like it ended. And I hate that he single-handedly cost us this game in a winnable situation. But I don't have anything negative to say about him, the person. And I think that's what can piss a person off looking at this. Like, why y'all gotta attack the kid on this racial BS? That happens. Anyway, that's it, man. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. Like I always say, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Check out the latest It's Always Personal podcast that's out there. I had to put some thoughts together on Nnamdi Asomugha, former All-Pro NFL defensive back for the Raiders and the Eagles. He just produced and starred in this movie that's available on Amazon Prime or Prime Video. It's called Sylvie's Love. It's not for everybody. If you're a hard rock, if you a real ninja, if you all extra, it's not for you. But if you can watch a story, it's a romance, but it's really well done. And I love the fact that the brother is finding out something else to do after he's moved on from the playing field. Mendenhall, Mendenhall was on. He was one of the writers or involved with the production of the joint with The Rock that was on HBO, Ballers. So it's good to see some of these guys not be the typical broke athlete 2 and 3 years after walking away from the game. Like I said, Nnamdi Asomugha retired in 2013 on a one-day contract with the Raiders, and he's doing his thing. Check it out. Check the movie out. I'm out. Peace.